In 2016, Donald Trump won the presidency because of how effectively he used Facebook.
Do you follow Milei in Twitter, in X?
Yes, he's quite the character. He's charismatic, he's fun, he's got great energy. Of course he's going to go viral on social media. It is probably the most important communication tool in politics.
Bienvenidos al ciclo de entrevistas del Observador. Soy Gabriel Siblat y hoy tenemos una entrevista muy especial. Está con nosotros Axel Bruesewitz. It's okay?
Yes, great.
Axel Bruesewitz es el principal asesor de Donald Trump en temas de redes sociales. So, welcome. Thank you. You're here.
Thank you for having me.
It's the first time in Argentina?
Yes, it is.
And you like it?
I love it.
What impression you have?
It's actually much different than I was anticipating.
Really?
You know, if you listen to American media, a lot of the times when they talk about Argentina, they make it out like it's a very struggling country. But my time here in Buenos Aires so far has shown the exact opposite. It's a beautiful city, very clean city, beautiful architecture, great restaurants, happy people. And so I'm very impressed thus far, and I know that I'm going to be exploring a few different cities while I'm here, and I'm looking forward to it.
And why you are visiting us?
I'm here for a great conference for Patriots in Cordoba, hosted by Javier Negre and many of the great conservative leaders that are in this country. President Milei will be there, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
And you will meet Milei there?
I hope so. He's a busy guy.
Yeah.
He's making your country great again.
But you are also a busy guy, I'm sure.
Yes, I try to keep busy, but you know, I'm not running a really important country and trying to turn it around. I mean, Milei inherited a mess, and it's incredible what he's been able to accomplish in just 2 short years. And I'm optimistic that the people of Argentina will want to give him and his party much more power in years to come.
And like an advisor of Trump, you will go to Casa Rosada, to the Pink House?
I look forward to visiting that if that's something that is allowed for me to do. It's a beautiful property I see from the outside. The pink is a nice color, but I still love the White House a little bit more. I'm sorry.
Sure. Let's talk about you and your job. What do you do with Donald Trump? What is your job like an advisor?
Well, I've had the unique opportunity to have many jobs working around the president and working with the president. For the 2024 campaign, I helped oversee his new media strategy, so focusing on social media and podcast appearances for the president. The president crushed every opportunity he got. Millions and millions and millions of views every time he sat down in an interview like this. Hopefully you do very well at this interview too. But now I help the president from outside, so I don't work in the White House.
Okay.
I maintain my social media position with him, so I help run a lot of his outside social media accounts. I still show up to the Oval Office a few times a month, and I try to bring in high-profile celebrities to visit with him. And we were talking about football before the camera started rolling. I took a great friend of mine, Saquon Barkley, the Philadelphia Eagles star running back, to the White House, and we played golf with the president that day. And so I kind of have the coolest job in the world, where I can do all of that stuff during the day, and I get to fly around the world and meet great people like you on the weekends.
You have also a good relation with Donald Trump's son, Barron, right?
Yes, he's a great young man. He's going to have a brilliant future ahead of him. The president has all great children. Unlike the previous president, they call him Sleepy Joe Biden.
Yeah.
He's not very smart, but he has children who do crack cocaine, and they're very bad children. President Trump has great children. They're accomplished. They all have great businesses, great families. And that's something that the American media has failed to cover. Meanwhile, they covered up for Biden's family and all of their craziness, but they attack the great Trump family, but they're really all wonderful people.
And talking about social media, which social media specifically it's better for Donald Trump now?
Well, we do well on all social medias. I'll say TikTok. I'm not sure if you're on TikTok, but TikTok was a game changer in many respects for our campaign. We were very popular on TikTok. The Democrats were not popular. We won the young male vote in our country. Young men voted for Republican for the first time in my lifetime, first time in many, many decades, and in large part due to our reach on TikTok. We also did 8% better with young women aged 18 to 25. And again, because of our presence on TikTok. The president is a cultural icon. He transcends politics. I think much like Milei, there is not just political appeal with these two leaders, there's cultural appeal. And so they're fun to engage with online. TikTok was great. The president started his own company called Truth Social,
Right.
which was also very important because if you recall, after the 2020 election, all of the big tech companies in our country, they removed President Trump from their platforms and they tried to take his voice away. And Truth Social gave him his voice back. And so it was very important that we had that platform there for the campaign because nobody could ever silence us again.
And any particular content works better?
Well, the president is a content machine. I've had conversations with the president. The president views me as an influencer, so he'll always want to talk to me about who's the biggest influencers of them all. So I was sitting down with him much like this, and he goes, Alex, who's the biggest influencer of them all? I said, sir, that's the easiest question you've ever asked me. And he goes, who? I said, sir, it's you. You're the number one influencer in the world. And he goes, I never thought about it like that. But he is the number one influencer, and he gives us incredible content every day. He brings us behind the scenes. He showcases what it's like to be the president. He doesn't just have the news cameras come in. He's got cell phone cameras rolling all the time. He's always doing something fun, whether it's golfing, hosting fun events. He's always providing content. And so he just gives us ample content to post and to make go viral.
Do you think that because of that, he's popular between the new generations?
Yes, I think he relates more to the new generation. It's quite funny because, he's a 79-year-old man, but he understands how to communicate with the youth better than any politician I've ever seen. And again, I think it's partially because he's always been famous, and he follows the trends and he follows what people care about. But when Kamala Harris, who was arguably the worst vice president in the history of our country, decided to run for president, the media was acting like she was this fresh face and a young gun, and she was going to be able to relate to the people and the young people. But she's 60 years old. She's not a young person. And so we ran laps around her social media team. We continue to run laps, outperform the Democrats every month on social media by 200, 300 million views every month. And they spend $20 million, $30 million trying to compete with us. We spend a very tiny budget. All we do is organic. It's all free. And the Democrats can't compete.
Do you follow Milei in Twitter, in X?
Yes, he's quite the character. Very much like my friend Donald Trump, he speaks his mind, and I think it's refreshing. It's much different than the leaders that Argentina has had in the past, and I think that's why he's so popular and beloved. People are so excited about him, and not just here, all over Latin America. People of Latin descent in America, they love Milei, and so I think he's a cultural icon. I think we need more leaders like him. I think President Bukele in El Salvador is also kind of cut from that same cloth. I'm excited by this generation of conservative leadership in this hemisphere.
Since Trump's inauguration, we have seen many signals of good relations between Trump and Milei, Argentina and the United States. Being so close to Trump, how do you say it's the relation between them? They are allies, they are partners, they are friends?
I'll just say mutual respect. The president doesn't just respect anybody. He believes respect is earned. I think Milei has earned the respect of the president. He's also obviously earned the respect of the people of this country. And what he's doing, what he's accomplishing in this country in such a short amount of time, it impresses everybody. And the president is also impressed. He was witnessing how Argentina used to have the worst inflation in the world. And now Milei has gotten it under control in a very short amount of time. And with no help from the left, by the way. The left, like they do everywhere, all they do is obstruct, obstruct, obstruct. They want the entire world for some reason to fall into decay, but leaders like Trump and Milei are building it back.
And you are worried about what can happen if Milei doesn't succeed?
Well, I'm an American, so I don't know how much my opinion matters in your country here, but I'll just say from my perspective as an American, I grew up, you never heard about the country Argentina. Nobody talked about it. It wasn't really a factor, geopolitically for us. It just wasn't discussed. But over the last couple of years, Argentina has been a hot topic. And now I believe America is the main character of the world. We kind of set the precedent for what happens across the globe. And people care about what happens in Argentina now, in our country, which I think in your country, it's exciting and it's important that we're now really closely paying attention. I think that he's doing a good job, and I would be shocked if the people of Argentina went in a different direction.
I know you are traveling in Latin America. You have been in Colombia last month, right?
I was in El Salvador.
El Salvador.
Yes.
I think that you said something like there is a patron of right-wing leaders being shot.
Yes.
And why do you think that happened?
Well, the left is quite evil, quite dangerous, and I'm still praying for our friend in Colombia. I hope he's able to recover. It's terrible what happened. But the left has the same playbook all across the globe, I'm witnessing. If they can't beat you at the ballot box, they try to either arrest you or they try to kill you, or in certain cases, both. If you look at what they tried to do to President Trump in America, they arrested him not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. They tried to remove his name from the ballot to prevent people from being able to vote for him. And then when that didn't work, he was shot at once and nearly shot at again. Another example of this is what's happening in Brazil with Bolsonaro. They tried to kill him many years ago. He ended up living, thank God. He was a successful president. The left went crazy against him, and now they're trying to arrest him and throw him in jail for the rest of his life. It's terrible.
Are you working for his campaign next year?
No, I don't do any foreign work. I don't work in different countries. I just have opinions on a lot of countries. I don't take money from the other countries. But Bolsonaro is a good man. He was a great leader for the people of Brazil. I've become friendly with his son, Eduardo, over the years. And it is the same exact playbook that they tried to do to President Trump that they're now doing to Bolsonaro. And if you love democracy, if you want to be a defender of principles in the free world, you have to speak out against what's happening to Bolsonaro. It's total corruption coming from the left in Brazil, and people need to speak out against it.
I want to talk a little bit about tariffs. What will happen with the negotiations Trump is leading?
Well, I think America needs to be treated fairly, and the president has had that position for his entire public life, which has been about 40 years. You can look back at his speeches from 40 years ago where he's talking about how we're being ripped off, and not because the other countries are evil and corrupt necessarily, but it's because of the incompetence of our politicians. Our politicians let it happen, and President Trump said we finally have a smart leader. Believe it or not, Joe Biden, who didn't even know what his name was not a smart leader, but we now have a smart leader who's trying to make fair trade deals for our country, and we're trying to even the playing field. So I don't know exactly what negotiations are coming and when they're coming, but the president wants to make individual trade agreements with individual countries that make sense, and I think he's going to have great success at that.
And he's using it like diplomatic relations with China or now with Russia, for example?
Well, the president understands the leverage that America has in the world. And as an American, it's nice having a president who understands how important our economy is to the rest of the globe. And if you want access to our country, you need to treat us fairly. And right now, if you look at how China has treated us for the last 30 years, it has not been fair. If you look at how the EU has treated us, it has not been fair. You go to Europe, you won't see a single American car on the roads, but Europe gets to sell all of their cars into our country for zero tax. It makes no sense. And so we're just trying to even the playing field. I think for the world's sake, moving jobs and manufacturing out of the Chinese Communist Party's hands is a good thing. We need better trade deals for our country. We need to make economy work for our people once again. And every country needs to do the same thing. There's something called nationalism. And the leftist media, they say that word is a dirty word. But it's not a dirty word. It's okay to love your nation and want your nation to be strong and prosperous. And it's okay to put your people first.
And talking about China, what do you think will happen with TikTok in the US?
Well, I know the president is trying to make a deal possible that is beneficial for all parties. We'll see if China wants to play ball on that. It's an important platform in our country. I know the president takes the national security risk seriously. It's a very important platform, though. We reached hundreds of millions of users for very little dollars spent. It's a platform that I love. I think it's great. It's very different, though. If you use TikTok in China, it's very different than the TikTok that the West gets. But we have to do something. I think it's an important platform to keep around.
In 2022, you wrote a book called Winning the Social Media War,
yes.
Right? After 3 years, do you think that conservatives are winning the war?
Yeah, I think we won the war in 2024.
Okay.
And we got to continue to win it. And I'll say this, I was a young guy when I wrote that book. I was 21 going on 22 when I wrote it, and then it was published when I was like 23 or 24. We really were in a social media war in the 2024 election. And it also turned into the podcast election. Both sides were competing in podcasts, both sides were competing on social media. And it was kind of fun to write the book titled that many years before.
You think it's happening all around the world?
Yeah, I think social media is the new town square. It's how people communicate. In my opinion, it's a much more successful way to communicate than buying a television ad and spending more resources on building up a social media presence rather than throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars on a TV that people are going to put on mute during the commercial break. Mm-hmm. So social media is very important, but you also have to have candidates who can communicate well on social media. Not everybody can do it. You look at a guy like Milei. He's charismatic, he's fun, he's got great energy. Of course he's going to go viral on social media. But then you look at a guy like who's the president of Colombia? He's a fat, unattractive guy. Nobody wants to engage with his content on social media. So not everybody should be making that their main priority, but it is probably the most important communication tool in politics.
And what's your opinion on the debate of that social media content should be regulated?
It's terrible. They tried to regulate social media content in our country. In 2016, Donald Trump won the presidency because of how effectively he used Facebook. President Trump put millions of dollars into Facebook, while Hillary Clinton, another crazy person, spent hundreds of millions of dollars on television ads. And at the end of the election, Donald Trump's campaign won. And the chief marketing officer of Facebook came out and said that Donald Trump's team ran the most brilliant Facebook campaign that they've ever seen used on the platform, not just in politics, but brands, anybody. It was the most effective. And then after that campaign, a crazy person named Elizabeth Warren, the president refers to her as Pocahontas because she claimed to be Indian, even though she's not, basically brought Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey into Congress and said, you better start cracking down on what they call misinformation and disinformation. And so the Democrats scared the big tech companies into censoring conservatives, deleting conservatives' accounts, and we were living in a state of tyranny. After the 2020 election, they deleted the voice of our leader, President Trump, and then they deleted hundreds of thousands of our supporters. Fortunately, Elon Musk came back, he bought X, President Trump built True Social, and we started to even the playing field a little bit. But we actually had a free and fair internet again in the 2024 election, and I think that's why we won. But it's important that you keep a free and fair internet, and that's why what the crazy person in Brazil, the Supreme Court justice in Brazil, he's absolutely nuts. He hates free speech because their ideas are unpopular. And so when their ideas are unpopular, the people criticize you. But they don't want people to be allowed to criticize you. They want to jail you, they want to imprison you. It's terrible what they're doing.
You talk about Elon Musk. What happened there in the relationship with Donald Trump?
Well, it's an interesting relationship, that's for sure. But the president has spoken out about this quite a bit. He wishes Elon well. There was slight disagreements. Elon's business largely subsidized by federal government contracts. During the previous administration, crazy Joe Biden, he put in a mandate where everybody had to drive green cars and green vehicles. Trump said, I don't like that. We're going to get rid of the electric vehicle mandate and take away these subsidies. Elon's company is kind of propped up by certain subsidies, and he was very unhappy about it. He says it's not about that issue, but most people that are paying attention think it's about that issue.
And talking about regulations, what do you think will change with the crypto industry with this legislation that Trump promotes?
With the Genius Act?
Yes.
Yes, I know Milei loves crypto too. Look, I think crypto is very exciting. It's a new frontier of economic opportunity, and the president wants America to be the leader in the crypto sector. This new piece of legislation that was just signed this afternoon is going to accelerate that. And we need to be crypto friendly, not anti-crypto. The last administration was very anti-crypto, but we need to figure out how we can be the leader in it, and President Trump's focused on doing just that.
Something in common between Trump and Milei also is the relationship with the traditional medias.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, the traditional media has failed the people of pretty much everywhere. Their approval ratings everywhere are abysmal. When we ran in 2016, President Trump didn't just run against Hillary Clinton and the Democrat machine, he also ran against the mainstream media. And part of his messaging, and because President Trump's smart, he looks at the approval rating of the mainstream media in our country. And at the time, it was like 27%. And so 27% means 73% of Americans hate the media. So he's like, okay, I'm good at math. It's a good issue for me if I say fake news sucks. And he did just that, and he was propelled to victory. Today, the media's approval rating hovers around 13%. While Donald Trump's is at an all-time high. So it's an 8-year, 9-year process, and we're still way above water while they're basically drowning. It's not just in America that the media is bad. I've learned through my travels over the last year that it's almost in every country with Western values that the media is terrible. And I don't know why it happened that way, but they've lost the trust of the people. Independent content creators, podcasters, social media influencers, they speak to the people more. And it's important for new leaders to engage with this type of media rather than going the traditional route, in my opinion.
Another thing where Trump and Milei are in the same symphony is the position with Israel and the Middle East conflict. Why do you think that so few countries have the same position?
Trump's position is he wants peace, and he wants to see the killing and the death stop. And that's why he worked so incredibly hard to get that ceasefire between Iran and Israel signed in a very short amount of time. The president was also very clear that Iran would not have nuclear capabilities under his administration, and that was something he campaigned on since 2016. So his position on that particular issue didn't change. Another issue that he didn't change on is he wants peace. He wants the killing to stop. I think he's one of the only leaders in the world who's saying stop the killing, because he knows how bad it is for the country. He knows how bad it is for the world. He got a deal done in Israel and Gaza, which will be a temporary ceasefire. Hopefully we can work towards a permanent ceasefire. But the president has said repeatedly to me privately and to the world publicly that he wants his legacy to be known as a peacemaker. And he wholeheartedly believes that God blesses peacemakers. And so that's his main focus.
All the Middle East conflict was important also in US. It was a surprise for you, the protests in the university campus?
Oh, it's not a surprise. We don't have the smartest kids going to university in our country, maybe not in any country in the world, but the universities are a center that people go to get brainwashed by the left wing. But the protests are whatever. They didn't have an impact on the election, in my opinion, but we need to do everything that we can to get peace, and I think that's what the president is focused on.
And what is behind now the fight between Trump and Harvard?
Well, I think Harvard is terrible. Harvard has discriminated against white Americans. Harvard has been discriminatory against Asian Americans. They also prioritize bringing foreign students into our country instead of allowing very smart Americans to get education there, even though we subsidize them greatly. We give them tax benefits. They also charge astronomical rates while they sit on hundreds of billions of dollars in endowment money. It used to be the most respected institution in the entire world, and now it's a laughingstock. There's a guy in America, his name is David Hogg. He might be the dumbest person you'll ever hear speak and ever meet, but he got accepted into Harvard. And so the second that David Hogg got accepted into Harvard, you know that Harvard's legacy was completely tarnished, and quite frankly, it needs to be turned over from the top down.
The last one. Do you have any idea of who have to be the Trump successor?
We have great talent. I'm optimistic that President Trump will find a way to run for a third time, but
he can.
We'll see. Who knows? But we have great talent. Vice President Vance has been a tremendous ally to President Trump. Marco Rubio has been a great talent. The president has great and talented children. The MAGA movement will be around for a very long time. And part of my messaging when I go speak to leaders across the world is when you're very popular, make sure you are using your platform to build up the next generation of voices. Something that President Trump has done an incredible job of is identifying talent and helping them grow, whether growing their social media accounts, whether putting them on stage at a rally, whether helping them get on television. The president has been very intentional and impactful in helping grow the next generation of conservative leaders that all believe in the Make America Great Again message. And so if you're Milei, or if you're Bukele, or if you are Meloni, you have to use your platforms and your power to build up the next generation because you're not going to be hot and around forever, and you need to leave your party better than you left it, or than you found it.
And what failed the first period of Trump that this doesn't happen?
When President Trump was first elected in 2016, he was brand new to Washington, D.C. He was not a politician. And so when he won the Republican nomination for president, what happens is the Republican Party starts building a transition team around you. So Trump was unfamiliar with that process, and so the transition team goes and picks certain members for your cabinet, certain members for your staff. And the president was like, okay, you're a Republican, so I'll trust you, so come on in. And what happened was the swamp in Washington, they started putting bad people in that were trying to sabotage the administration. This time around, President Trump knows the system, he knows the game, and was able to handpick every single person for every single role. And we have great camaraderie, chemistry, and everybody is working on the same page, which is why we're seeing such extraordinary results so quickly.
Something else you want to say?
This was a great conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.